I'm excited and going to be saying how I can do Tom and Jerry crossing over the Justice League and other forms of media. If Scooby-Doo managed to have crossovers with each individual Justice League member and have a crossover with the whole Justice League, hey, then Tom and Jerry should cross over the Justice League at least once, because it would be better than them just crossing over the other Warner Bros. Movies. Tom and Jerry did cross over with the spoof of Superman, so it would be good them crossing over with the actual Superman. Plus, if them crossing over with someone like Superman, then they can definitely cross over with someone like Batman, especially since someone like Scooby-Doo has crossed over with Batman and so many times before. And it's not just that Scooby-Doo has had so many crossovers, it being that Batman has also crossed over with some other guys too. Because Tom and Jerry has crossed over with some guys too, it would be good them crossing over with the Justice League specifically, because as of it being really good, them crossing over such an iconic superhero team and them being such iconic cartoon characters. And Tom and Jerry has had superhero owners before, so this time you would make them iconic superheroes, some iconic franchise. A whole superhero universe with them actually being good to them. You can even make it that some of the superhero owners show up here, and they're just calling them out for being terrible owners to Tom and Jerry, and you're also pointing out that this DC heroes are bad owners for them, and that they should have been better owners to Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry and Spike would hang out with Streaky the Super Cat, Super Dog, and Bat Dog. Them also using the superheroes' weapons to fight against their villains with them and also saving them from their villains. Tom and Jerry would have a crush on Wonder Woman because of her being so awesome and such a good warrior. But her also being so good to them, and because of her being so sweet of a person in general. Then Tom and Jerry would be scared of Wonder Woman's military stuff at first, but then they would find out him being a good guy to them. And then they would also interact with Wonder Woman's pets. It's like her size-changing pig, and her pet warthog from Themyscira, and her pet kangaroo from Paradise Island. With the size-changing pig being the pet that Wonder Woman snuggles with, and the warthog just being a usual pet from Themyscira, and with Jumper, her kangaroo, being her pet that she does superhero things with, and the pig and the kangaroo being a part of the League of Super Pets. And the kangaroo is just a usual thing at Themyscira. With you also doing Tom and Jerry having good interactions and hanging out with Wonder Woman's pet Griffin Steve, and naming him after her husband Steve Trevor, and him being sent to Wonder Woman on the mainland because as he would have been killed at Themyscira because of him being a boy, a griffin. It would make sense for a woman to have a pet griffin than a kangaroo because of her Rose Guy being from Greek mythology. Then Tom and Jerry would hang out with the fastest pet Territor of the class, which is connected to the Speed Force, and them also making an official member of the Fast family, with it being similar to a Calder, them using JGX helmets to protect herself just to make sure because of her being a pet turtle of a superhero. And because of her being connected to the Speed Force because of an accident with the Flash, as in a fight with the Reverse Flash, as is how her having super speed like the Flash. With her getting the name from the class from another dimension from Captain and Kara and his maiden Juku, who were the Justice League animal versions of themselves. Then Tom and Jerry would eat a bunch of food with the Flash, and them also running away really fast, as with the Flash. Then they would also fight against the Flash's Rose Guy, with the Flash, with them secretly messing up at the Rogue's technology and blowing up Sixer's bombs, as before him being able to throw them at the Flash. With them finding out that the Flash's Rose Gallery are good-hearted criminals, with them being blue-collar crooks, them just trying to rob banks, them not wanting to rule the world or kill anyone. So them also celebrating with the Flash afterwards, and the Flash has also saying some soda and drinking some soda with some hamburgers and pizza with his villains, and while they're in prison, and to celebrate Christmas with them, and to make sure them having a Merry Christmas too. Because of his villains not being pure evil supervillains, and because of it being a Christmas special, and Tom and Jerry realizing how good the Flash and his villains are. Then Tom and Jerry worked together with the whole Justice League to stop up a bunch of their villains, and them also working together with the League of Super Pets. With them being the pets of the whole Justice League in general, and with them being a friend into the League of Super Pets, with them even becoming an honorary member of the League of Super Pets, like how Scooby-Doo, who in the game became members of the mystery-solving Atlas of Gotham City, the world's crime and crime-busting unit in Gotham City. From the Scooby-Doo and Batman Brave and the Bold crossover movie, and with them also being glad to be a friend of the Justice League. Since Christmas time is the time of our acceptance and bringing people together, and people caring about each other and focusing on being good to each other, I think it being a good time for me to talk about why them having metaphors of different species in superhero media and in cartoons in general, and forms of media in general, and why using it to tackle bigotry. They do different species that look different, and them having powers, and them being another kind of humans, like with X-Men and mutants, and with the metahumans in DC, like with the Teen Titans, for example. Because some things are better tackled in metaphors, and there are disfigured people in real life, and it's still tackles bigotry because of them hating these guys who are born with their powers instead of people who become later but still have powers, like the Avengers and Justice League in their superhero universes. And because of it being a comic book, it going along with the superhero theme, and for it being entertaining. And also, the government was already scared of different kind of people back in the day too, so this is just telling it from a superhero aspect, so it not being as touchy with it, and so it not being as offensive as it would be if them talking with that specifically. So you're not offending those kind of people in your life, but you still having a superhero aspect, and it's still being there if you want it to be there. So you're having the best of both worlds, so why are you complaining about it? Thus, not all of them have powers specifically, and some people are born with gifts. Some of them are just born disfigured, and to represent the homeless as who are homeless because of people judging them for how they look. That's what the Morlocks are, which is literally the homeless for mutants. And Professor X and Magneto were just inspired by the civil rights movements. They're not based on a one-to-one correlation with their leaders of the civil rights movements of both sides. And it's already there with places like Genosa and Krakoa. And they make them different species, like with My Little Trouble Pony and with Casper the Friendly Ghost. And the creatures there, because racism is stupid and it doesn't make sense, so they're actually being realistic when them acknowledging that. It happens anywhere, and what's important is you dealing with it. That's why it's good them dealing with it in these places, is so it can happen in your life. It also shows why there are good humans because of humans and choosing not to do that, and it also showing better with magical creatures and monsters, for example, because of them having angry memories from the war times and from when they were at war with each other. While they may be different creatures, it's them still being the same thing because of them being magical creatures, which shows us as there's not really big of a difference between us from different places in the world too. It also gets the message across better because if it happens between different species like humans and monsters and aliens, and they can definitely happen with our own species, especially since we should be working together and not even going against each other, since we're already the same species as each other. And they make them teenagers like in Monster High and Supernatural Academy, because it being a weird time and you start going through some things there because of puberty, so it's good them kids knowing them not being alone at that time, and they might do some of the same things there because of it being a strange time there. It just being bad and metaphorical terms because as to get the message across, and it being good you being subtle with these things. Because it's good them showing you this stuff in delicacy, so them not being offensive to you, and so you knowing it because of you experiencing it, and it being good that you actually finding out personally why. Because not only are you showing it, you're actually experiencing it, so that's why you actually finding it out. They put them in college, like with Harry Potter, and with stuff like Tiny Toons University, because your college years are when you start to grow up. So it is good having something reassuring at that time. It is when you move out of the house and start doing things on your own. And at the time when you start at the things that you achieve in your dreams and then start doing the things for the job you're going to do for the rest of your life. So it is good them having a cartoon show to reassure them of that and to show it being okay them going through these things at this time. And you going to a special college like a superhero college, a magic science college. It is a good cartoon trope, and they should do it in more cartoon shows, and them even doing it in some animated movies is just for them having more ideas for it, and because as it being good, them doing some good shows out of it, and so they're not doing any terrible reboot shows. I think they really shouldn't do it as a cheap knockoff version of Harry Potter. If anything, you should be doing it similar to the X-Men, and with them finding out this stuff specifically, and with them already having these powers. It would be going to as far as kind of college than the usual kind of S-word. If you're doing it with the original concept specifically, it would work a lot better than you just doing the trope plain simple. Oh, because as a new original concept would and help elevate it instead of you just doing a cheap knockoff of the X-Men, for example. It's not just that they've been tackling bigotry a lot in these past recent movies, it's that they've been doing a terrible job of it of just being a bigot to the other side, which is still bigotry. Because as you're just doing exactly what they did to you, and it is also bad at you becoming the very thing that you hated. Because if you hate so much, why are you justifying it? You're literally giving these guys a weapon, and that's the worst thing you can do in bigotry. If them doing it right, then you wouldn't have this problem. Because there have been shows that have done this right, and it actually turning people against bigotry, and it's showing why bigotry is bad. If it's such a serious topic, then you should handle it with delicacy, so you're handling it good, and you also shouldn't be doing jokes out of it because you should take it seriously. And if your character is suffering so much, then they should be likable, not a jerk face, especially if they're doing good things, so we don't hate them. And because of nothing ever bad happening to them, even though they're being so terrible. And if they do have flaws, as you shouldn't make it that just their personality is a flaw because of them being a jerk face. Like if they were nice, as in perfect, it would be good. And it would be nice as them not being able to do anything. So them not winning automatically. Like them not automatically being the best, and them actually working for it. And them actually getting there. And not already there, so us seeing their journey and then not being overconfident to it, and then just as making us hate them and being good at it because of them, and already making us hate them because of them being such a big jerk face. Because it's not like them suffering from it like the bad guys, and they're supposed to be a good guy, so they definitely shouldn't get away with it scot-free because of them and making us hate them so much, us wanting them and die, and it's already better than they're not already dead. You should actually show the horrors of bigotry and actually make it obvious that they are doing something bad and they should stop it because it's bad and that is bad. And the main characters should just want to stop it. They shouldn't want to do it to them. And they should obviously not want it happening at all, not them just being the ones to do it. And them of all people knowing how bad it is at all because of it being happened to them. So them not making it so hard for anyone to sympathize with them and just making everyone hate them even more and giving them the right to actually giving them the right to do terrible things to them because of them pushing everyone away when them just trying to help them. It would be good there being more girly cartoons because as it would be good for girls to have something to see, and it just being for girls specifically and not the different kinds of girls. And there is a reason why girls liking them, and it is supposed to be for girls anyways. Just not every girly cartoon being stereotypically girly, just some of them being there, and there being a bunch of them, and for fans because they're being fans of that, so you should do it for the fans of that one. But it is good they're just being some action cartoons with a girl as the main character for both boys and girls, and not being specific to either of them, and it being good for both of them. It just being in an action cartoon, with it just being a coincidence that the girl is the main character. It is bad Disney ruined the Owl House, and they shouldn't be doing a cheap knockoff of it, but perhaps isn't a cheap knockoff of the Owl House because of there actually being a princess there, and with the main character being a boy. But if it is going to be a cheap knockoff of the Owl House, then you should hate it. If them doing something original with it being a horror movie taking place in a magical world, with the main character as a witch, then you should like it. If they're not doing the terrible animation and it looking good from the trailer, then you should like it. But if you see the same terrible things from the other Disney movies, and it's still having the terrible drag face looseness, as idiotness of the other terrible 3D cartoon movies, then you should hate it because of it being a terrible part of Disney.